Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to learn how to fly a 4-channel RC airplane. Today we're going to be flying with a simulator. This is from Great Plains. This is a real flight. This is a real flight 4.5. I believe they're up to 7, 8, or 9. I don't know what level they're up to now. I got this one extremely cheap from a friend. That's why I always suggest to find some people that fly RC airplanes and become friends with them. They'll give you stuff like this for free practically, or for like 20 bucks after they upgrade, and then you have something that's great to fly with and train with and learn with. Or say it's bad weather outside, you can still fly inside. This right here is the transmitter it came with. You just plug it into your USB port into your PC. If you can see in the bottom left, I'll use my cursor here. The bottom left down here, we're going to have our aileron control, which is left and right, elevator, we have our rudder on the left, and our throttle. Okay, so now this transmitter is going to have a whole bunch of different things. So you can see there's knobs and switches, and I'm going to flip around and make noises with. Some of it's for retractable landing gear, flaps, different rates, things like that. We'll get into that in another video. Today we're just going to learn the basics of taking off, flying in circles, and landing. That's all we're going to do today. First things first, when you get your RC airplane, you get out, you get it plugged in, you get the transmitter connected, everything's ready to go. First thing you want to do is, I'll get the plane over here so I can get it to where I'm talking about. Normally you get it right in front of you, and you want it to face away from you, just like this basically. So if I can straighten her up a little bit, a little easier to do when you can actually reach out and grab the airplane. So on your transmitter, again, this is your ailerons, left and right. I'm going to turn the door rates up to high so it'll make bigger movements. So when you turn left with your aileron, it's going to make the airplane bank left. You should see the aileron on the left go up and the right one go down. And when you turn right, you should see the one on the right go up and the one on the left go down. Simple as that. You don't want these confused, because if you get an airplane in the air and they're backwards, it's going to make you crash 9 times out of 10, unless you're just amazing, because it's very difficult to fly a plane with the controls backwards. I assure you. Done it before. Been there and done it. We all have. So now I'm going to turn it a little bit so you can see us a little better. Now on the elevator on the back, this is going to be your up and down on the right stick. When you pull back on the elevator, that's going to make it pitch up. That should go up. The back flap should go up, and if you go down, it should go down. Okay? Simple as that. On your left stick, again, you can see this all in the video on the bottom left as well. There's going to be a picture-in-picture kind of down there, so you can see it anyways from my controller and my hands. Now if you, on the elevator, or not elevator, I'm sorry, the rudder, turn left, it's gonna pull left. When we turn right, it's gonna pull right. Simple as that. Just make sure all those controls are correct. Once they're correct, another thing to check is to make sure that your actual propeller here in the front, make sure it's facing the right way. If you're unsure, ask somebody or watch a YouTube video. I'll show you another video on that in a later date. Make sure the propeller is facing the correct way. That definitely helps make the airplane fly. Once you taxi her out, just give her, about, half to 3/4 throttle. See, this is some heavier grass here that I'm trying to drive in, so it takes a little more throttle to get her moving. Once I get her moving, I can turn her left or right with the rudder. Okay? So we're just going to taxi her out. Once she gets on the runway, she'll drive a little smoother, so I'm going to give about 1/4 throttle. And we're going to drive her out. And you don't need to go fast, because it sounds dumb. I've seen people crash plenty of planes on the runway before they even take off. So we're going to taxi it out, slow down, and just kind of straighten her up with the runway. You don't want to turn too quick, because if you turn too quick, you'll do this right here. You'll tip a wing. Well, this plane's not really good at doing that, so. But you see it's starting to lose balance like that. If it starts tipping, it'll grab that wing, and you can definitely crash. Okay, so I'll slow down, turn her around, line her up. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to give it about half to 3/4 throttle. You do not need to give it full throttle. It's not necessary. It's like driving a car. You don't drive a car at full throttle all the time, okay, when you're on the highway and things like that. We're not doing speed runs and things like that. We're just flying an aircraft, just like driving a car down the street, okay? So we're going to give it about half to 3/4 throttle, quarters throttle, and we're going to start pulling back. And if you can see my right stick over here where this elevator is, we're not going to be making movements like this. We don't fly like this. It's like when you turn a car, you're not going to turn the wheel all the way to the left and right. You're just going to turn it a little bit, okay? So when we fly around, we're going to make movements like this, okay? So now that we have that, I'm going to give it about half throttle, get her moving, make sure I got her lined up straight. Okay, we're good, making it left to right, you know, and we give her about 3/4 throttle, and I'm going to start pulling back on that stick. Pull back, and there she goes. She takes off. A little bit more throttle. And I'm going to start turning. I'm going to straighten up the stick, start pulling back a little bit, turn a little bit more, come back to the center, pull back. And the reason I'm pulling back is I want to create pressure on that back, because when you're turning, you tend to lose lift. So I'm going to drop the throttle just a little bit more. Now I'm just going to show you the plane's flying itself. I'm not even doing anything. That's what's awesome about this. Now I'm going to turn a little bit, come back to center, pull back a little bit. Now, the way I did that, I turned, went back to center, and then pulled back. What you really want to do is turn and pull back at the same time. That way you don't lose any lift. So we're going to try that on this next turn right here. We're just going straight. We're just flying in a big circle. And when I turn right here, watch the bottom left on how I do this. So we're going to turn, come back to center, and pull back. It's as simple as that. We're going to straighten up a little bit, turn, pull back, and come to center. And we're not going to lose any altitude by doing this. Okay? I'm going to drop throttle just a hair, turn and pull back at the same time. As you can see how smooth that was right there. We're not losing any altitude by doing that. Now come back to center. And we can literally let off. It doesn't even have, you don't even have to do anything. It's pretty awesome. This is a really good flying airplane. Now some airplanes won't do this on its own. It's not going to fly perfectly straight with the throttle like this, just let off. Now in order to change that, you'll have to change these, these what's it called, trim levels. I can pull the trim back some more so the plane is automatically pulling back by itself, okay? So even though I'm turning, the plane's still not really losing a whole lot of altitude. It's still flying. It's actually flying up now because I've pulled that trim back automatically. So the plane's automatically going up. Now if I put the trim up this way, the plane will automatically go down. See, it's automatically going down. So let's turn, slow her down a little bit. Now I'm going to fix this trim back to the way it was. There we go. Okay, so let's fly a little bit and let's kind of come in for a landing. We'll talk about it and kind of explain a little bit more. Now, I should have explained this before we took off. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. It was right there and I lost it. When you do come in for a landing, you want to land into the wind. Same thing with takeoff. You want to take off into the wind. The reason for that is because wind creates lift over your wings and under your wings. So with that wind, you want to take off faster with the wind coming into you, creating lift, and you want to land slower. That's really what it comes down to. So I'm going to drop throttle a little bit, about half throttle, and we're going to turn in, and I'm just kind of letting her float down a little bit. I'm pulling back, and I'm trying to line her up. I'm trying to pull back even more, and I've completely pulled back all the way right now. Throttle off. Okay, so again, all the control surfaces work. We're good. So I'm going to take off and do one more landing to show you that real quick, okay? 3/4 throttle, start to pull back once we get up to speed. It takes off just fine. Now I'm not super familiar with this little landing strip right here, so bear with me, okay? Alright, so now this plane, it does like to fly. It loses a lot of lift at about half to quarter throttle. So this plane really likes to fly at about 3/4 throttle because different planes fly differently. You know, the motor may not be as powerful as heavy as the aircraft. So this particular aircraft, you know, it just doesn't like to do that. So we're going to straighten her up real quick, give her about half throttle, and let her come on in. And we're going to start pulling back on that, like I said, pulling back on the elevator to really make sure we got pulled back. And it's pulled back all the way, and it's just landed itself. This particular aircraft, once you give it half throttle, it'll just land on its own. Okay? So let's get her spinning around over here. Take a look at her. Alright, so that's going to conclude our first little episode of taking off and landing, some of the basics, nomenclature of the aircraft, and just some general things like that. If you have any questions about what you guys want to see next, we're going to do some aerobatics. We're going to do you know, short takeoff and landings. We're going to learn about flaps. We're going to fly some other aircraft and things like that to give you a little bit. And we're also going to do some taking off from water with some floats. So to give you a little bit of teaser, I'm going to show you some of the other aircraft and stuff we have lined up. We have some, you know, some jets. We have, I'm not going to do any helicopter stuff right away. That stuff's a little hard. Harrier is pretty crazy, very difficult to fly in this thing. You know, another jet here. We have some gliders that we're going to try out, and we're definitely going to fly this Piper Cub float plane a lot. It's a pretty awesome plane, and this little guy right here, the Seawind, is pretty nice as well. It's got a pusher prop. Or not pusher, I'm sorry, that's actually a puller prop. It's just in a weird position. So really cool stuff coming, and hope you guys enjoy the series. I'm going to put some videos up. Again, if you have any questions, we're going to do some 3D stuff, show you how to do some of that. We're going to do knife edges. We're going to do, again, a lot of different aerobatics and stuff, and we're just going to teach you some stuff. And again, if you have any questions, I think our next episode is going to start with the AT-6 Texan. We're going to go over some of the more advanced nomenclature with that particular aircraft because it does have retractable landing gear, smoke, and flaps, and things like that. Okay, so hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.